Oh, let's turn this on. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Noel Jabber. Yesterday and today, there's a lot to talk about. NFL draft, no more mock draft, just straight NFL draft. Finally happened. Talk about that. It's it's gonna be honestly for a pretty good while on this show. Honestly, a lot of podcasting around. It's gonna be NFL draft talk, NBA playoff talk, and honestly, that's probably it. I mean, there really isn't. I mean, you got regular season MLB, but a lot of people don't just go out of their way to talk about that. So you're gonna have a lot of MLB or NBA and NFL talk as recently. But like I said, I'll be talking about the NFL draft, some surprises within the draft, like teams that traded up, traded down, some surprise picks, players that's on the board. Then we're gonna go to the NBA, talk about the games from last night, preview the games for tonight and the weekend. Finally, to end it off, talk about um, Elijah Arenas, the son of Gilbert Arenas. He got into a coma, which is brutal. So I'll touch on that so everybody knows what's going on with that. Before we get to any of that though, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. By tipping and donating, it shows you guys care about the content that we're putting out, and we do put out the best content that we possibly can. So if you do want to tip or donate and you're in the live stream, feel free to do that with the super chat and sticker feature. If you don't want to tip and if you are in the live stream or not in the live stream, you want to tip or donate, feel free to do that with the two links in the bio and in the description. But even if you don't want to tip or donate, you still want to show support, feel free to do that by leaving a comment in the live stream comment section. I'll see that immediately. I'll respond to that as soon as I see it. YouTube comment section or the shorts, I'll see that as soon as you post them. So make sure to leave a comment if you want to talk about sports. But like I said, if you do want to tip or donate and show support, if you're in the live stream, feel free to do that with a super chat and sticker feature. If you're not in the live stream, the two links in the bio and in the description. With that being said, let's get in the segment number one for the day, the NFL draft recap. The NFL draft finally happened after we were all waiting for about 2 weeks, that final 2 week stretch, and it's finally come around. It's finally started. The first round happened yesterday, and there was some pretty good. I mean, it went relatively for the players drafted. It went into the top three at least. It went to the order a lot of people thought. I had obviously Cam Ward at 1, Travis Hunter at 2, and then Abdul Carter at 3. So those three at the top three in that order, I thought was gonna happen regardless. I didn't think the Browns would trade down with Jacksonville to go from the 5 to the 2 spot, but they did, and they got obviously Tennessee got Cam Ward at 1, which is a great pick for them. They need a good quarterback, and he's their guy. Jacksonville, they need a lot, and Travis Hunter is gonna be that guy to help fill in a lot of those slots that they need filled. Receiver and cornerback are gonna be two of the Jacksonville's biggest weaknesses, and they just solved, or I wouldn't say solved completely, but have definitely helped improve that issue with Travis Hunter on being drafted. Abdul Carter, I have him going through to the Giants. I'm pretty sure a lot of people had him going to the Giants as well. That pick was no brainer. Abdul Carter is the best defensive end, the edge in college football, and that defensive line with the Giants is kind of scary. Kayvon Thibodeau on one side, Abdul Carter the other, Dexter Lawrence in the middle. That team is going to be a very, very good team. Then you got the Patriots. Lineman out of LSU. Great pick for them. My computer froze a little bit there. Sorry about that. But, they had the 4 pick. They got Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU. One of the best linemen in this year's draft, and that's why he went first. He was a 2-time All-American, phenomenal player. And if you saw his quote, his little media conference when he got drafted, what he said about Drake, man, was amazing. He said when the reporter asked him, how are you going to, help this team succeed? He said, I'm going to fight and die to make sure we succeed. And I thought that was just a really, really good thing for him to say. He obviously, he's a good lineman. And the Patriots are in need of a solid line. I thought they were going to either go with a lineman or a receiver. So I'm kind of glad they went with the lineman because that's what they needed, a lineman. And Will Campbell is going to be one of those guys who really helps out that offensive line. He's a leader. He was a leader on LSU. Phenomenal lineman as well. I mean, he's like 6'6", 320. He's a beast. He's fast. He's really strong. He's really going to help build up that organization from what they're at right now, which is, not a very good team, only having 3 or 4 wins last year, and them getting, a good offensive lineman like that. Maybe get another 1 or 2 of them in the draft this year, and then, go get some skill guys, and they'll be the Patriots will be a very good team, very improved from last year for sure. Number 5, the Cleveland Browns. They traded down from the 2 South Jacksonville. It was supposed to be them at 2, but they traded down and got a dog in Mason Graham, probably the best defensive tackle in the game or in college football this year. Phenomenal player for Michigan. He had a great year. He helped lead them to a national championship 2 years prior on that defensive side of the ball. He was your anchor, and he's an absolute beast. He's like 6'4", 290, 300. He's fast. He can clog up anything that needs to be done on the defensive side of the ball. He's there to get it done. And he's just going to be, a phenomenal player for the organization. Then we got number 6, Ashton Jeanty. Jeanty went to the Raiders at 6, and I think everybody who's following the draft saw that one coming. Jeanty has been working out with the Raiders for a while now. He's been kept in close contact with. He's been around the facility. And Pete Carroll coming in. Whoa, sorry about that. Pete Carroll coming in. He needs, he wants a good running back. And he's, coming his first year in Las Vegas, brought in Geno Smith, and he's like, I got to get some good power behind Geno Smith. And Ashton Jeanty is that guy. Insanely fast for his size. He's quick. He's pretty strong. People bounce right off of him. He's just a beast. He makes people miss. When he lowers his shoulder, you're going on the ground. He's just an absolute tank of running back. Best running back in this draft by far. And he's really going to I really think he will help that Raiders offense. Him and that Brock Bowers, just that core right there of those two. One of the best running backs probably the best running back in the draft. One of the best young players overall in the draft. And then a second-year Brock Bowers, who was an all-star last year as a rookie. He's an absolute freak. That Raiders offense, if they get a solid receiver or two in the rest of this draft, they will be a very good team on the offensive side of the ball this year. Ooh, excuse me. I'm sorry. The Jets, they tackled their offensive line problem. Offensive tackle out of Missouri, Armand Bamboo. Very good offensive tackle from Missouri. Probably the best in the country. Behind Will Campbell, second best in the country. He was phenomenal for them the entire year. Missouri, they're not really a powerhouse in a lot of sports, but this year, in the past few years in football, they have been good because I feel like their offensive line is a really huge part, really key part for them to, succeed. And he was kind of the leader of that team for them this year and the past year as well. 8, from Arizona, the receiver, Tech McMillan. I'm not saying his full name, I'm saying Tat. It's a lot easier. But there was the best receiver in the draft class is the number 1 receiver in the draft class to Charlotte. He is a young superstar. He's phenomenal. He was the best receiver in this year's draft class by far. And he, is the first receiver off the board for a reason. He's phenomenal. He was, he's the reason Arizona, were on the map or on the radar. It was because of his game, because the way he played. He was just the best receiver. He's like, how can I compare him to like an NFL? Like his ceiling, I guess you could say, in the NFL is probably like a Cooper Kupp. Maybe no. I'm gonna give like an OPJ. Like OPJ is one of the best receivers of all time. I love him, but like I'm not gonna give him. I'm not gonna give his rookie like Antonio Brown or like Calvin Johnson. I'll give him like a very solid receiver who's all time. So I'll give like OBJ, and he's a phenomenal receiver. He's really good. He's big. He's quick. He can make catches. He's really fast off his feet. His routes are very, very pure, very clean. And Carolina got a really good receiver in Tech McMillan. Offensive tackle out of Texas for New Orleans, Calvin Banks Jr. Texas is one of the best offensive teams in college football this year, and they were strong on all aspects: tight end, receiver, quarterback, running back, all that. And their offensive line was no exception. Calvin Banks made a lot of plays. If you watched the game against Arizona State in their playoff game, his name was brought up a lot because of how many big plays he's making. getting downfield blocking done, get off his assignment, co-find a linebacker. He was doing a lot for the Longhorns in that game. And he's another reason the Texans were so good. Texas was so good was because of his ability to play. At number 10, the first tight end off the board. People thought it'd be Tyler Warren. Guess again, Colson Loveland out of Michigan to Chicago. I didn't think the Bears really needed to draft a tight end that early. I think they should have gone, maybe for a lineman, because I think Cole Kmet is a good tight end for the Bears. He's not, the greatest tight end ever, but I don't think he's that bad where you need to go draft a tight end first round. But I mean, they got a great tight end out of Colson Loveland. He's phenomenal. He was a huge player. Sorry about that. He's a huge player for Michigan the past few seasons. He's made plays. He's always efficient. You need a ball to get caught for Michigan. They were throwing it to Loveland. If they wanted a quick short pass, quick bubble or something like that, Colson Loveland, yeah, you're going to be our guy. I mean, he's a great player, great overall playmaker. He can block, catch, do it all. So, great player for them, and he's going to be a great player for the Bears this upcoming season. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're going to kick it over to the NFL again, but we're going to talk about some surprises in the draft. After that, going to the NBA, talk about games from last night, preview the games for tonight, and then end it off talking about Alijah arenas. We'll get to that after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jim. First segment, we talked about the NFL draft, talked about the first 10 picks that went, talked about, why I thought they went that way, and how good I think they're going to be for their teams this year. This segment, we're sticking with the draft. We're talking about, some surprises in the draft, players that didn't go, players that did go, teams that traded up and down, all that. After this, we're going to go to the NBA, talk about games from last night, the games for tonight, and talk about Alijah arenas. Before we get into any of that, though, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. By tipping and donating, it really means you guys care about the content that we're putting out. And we do put out the best content that we possibly can. So if you do want to tip or donate and you're in the live stream, feel free to do so by using the super chat and sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, feel free to do so with the links in the bio and in the description. If you don't want to tip or donate and you still want to show you guys appreciate the content that we're putting out, please feel free to leave a comment in the live chat, in the comment section of the YouTube or the YouTube Shorts. I'll see the live chat as soon as you post it, and I'll see it right away and respond to it. But if you do the YouTube one, I'll see that after I upload it, so I'll get to that as soon as I see that as well. But like I said, feel free to do that. I love talking, people listening, the watchers, the listeners. It's my job to talk sports, and I love to talk to people, who have the same interests as me. So, like I said earlier, though, if you do want to tip or donate and you're in the live stream, feel free to do that by using the super chat and the sticker feature. If you're not in the live stream, feel free to do that with the two links in the bio and in the description. That being said, let's get into segment number 2 for today. This draft, there was some surprises so far. In the first round of the draft, there was a good amount of, players who were taken, players who weren't. There was a lot. So I'll just talk about that. The first surprise I want to talk about is, I think, the Jacksonville Jaguars trading up to the 2 spot for the Cleveland Browns. I didn't really see them trading up. I really didn't. I really thought the Browns were just going to be set in stone at 2. They're very set on Hunter. But the Jags gave them something they couldn't refuse, and that's basically 2 picks in this draft and a guaranteed first round next year, and plus the 5 spot. So it's pick swap, and then the 33rd overall pick and 36th overall pick in this year's draft, so that they get 2 picks within the first 5 picks today, and then they get the guaranteed first round next year, which for the Jags spot. So it could be really high. If the Jags don't do well, they could get top 5 pick again next year, just guaranteed. But so they drafted Travis Hunter. I mean, Travis Hunter was destined to go number 2. Whatever team needed them, they were going to take. He was off the board. And he's a great player. No one didn't see Travis Hunter going with outside the top 5 or top 3. He's just that good of a player. And Jacksonville really got themselves, a dog. And sorry, I'm tired. Sorry, but they got a dog in Travis Hunter. He's phenomenal. I mean, generational athlete, 2 ways to the ball, Heisman winner. I mean, what else can I say about Travis Hunter? He's just phenomenal athlete. If you look through the draft, you see a lot of guys who were drafted who you wouldn't think you would see drafted before other guys. You got one thing I want to talk about: the Bears, number 10, Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren, was the consensus number 1 overall tight end in this year's draft, and the Bears, they decided to go with Colston Loveland over him. They had the pick before they had the pick, and they decided, hey, we're going with number 2. They obviously saw something in Loveland, whether it be, how he plays or how they think he's going to fit into their system. They obviously saw something in him, and they saw that Warren wasn't it for them. They saw, maybe we don't want to go with Warren, we want to go with Colston Loveland. And they did, which I think, honestly, they're both phenomenal tight ends. There really isn't much that you can say about that. They're both phenomenal players, coming both from really good teams, pass-heavy teams, so they know how to, catch the ball and block when needed. But, oh my God. How tired am I? I didn't even feel this tired. But, Colston Loveland's a great tight end. I mean, Tyler Warren, it was really going to be, it was really going to be a toss-up for which one was going first. And I guess we saw that Loveland was going first. He's a great player. No reason that, he shouldn't have gone top 10. Great player. He's just a good player. There's really nothing else to say about that. He's a great player. And, Tyler Warren ended up going 4 picks later to the Colts at 14, who also, need a tight end. But, yeah, I mean, he's a great player. Both of them are great players. I didn't really feel like the Bears were going to take Loveland. Thought they were going to go for, a lineman, like I said in the last segment, because I feel like Cole Kmet's not that bad of a tight end. But obviously, like I said, the Bears see something in him, and they're like, let's take our shot with him. And that's exactly what they did. And the Colts going with Tyler Warren, I mean, it looks like they would have gone with either tight end, so it worked out for them. Looks like they were going for tight end the entire time. But he got a generational tight end like Tyler Warren. You can't just let him sit on the bench like that. You got to, on the what I'm saying, not on the bench, but on the draft board. And they took advantage of it. And they got a phenomenal tight end, one of the best in this draft class, one of the best in years at 14 to add to their very young core with Anthony Richardson. And, I mean, if he stays healthy, that duo could be really good. Very good duo if they stay healthy. Then you got one thing I thought was really interesting. Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State, the receiver, going to Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay really had no reason to draft a receiver. They signed Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is still really good. I mean, they really didn't need a wide receiver 4. They have another rookie receiver whose name is, kind of just, he's not really the greatest receiver ever, but I feel like the Bucs were more needed in offensive line. Actually, not really offensive line. Yeah, offensive line / defensive line area, and they're going for a receiver. I mean, it's definitely an interesting play. I wouldn't have minded them going for a receiver later in the draft, but they went for a receiver at number, what pick were they? They were 19, and they went for a receiver at Ohio State, who obviously is really good. Second best receiver on Ohio State this year. And, I mean, he's a great player. They won a national championship with him. He's a great player, but I'm very surprised the Bucks went with him so early in the draft. I thought they would have, like I said, gone for someone on the defense or offensive line, and that's what they kind of need help with. So, is it a bad pick? Not really. It's just kind of surprising a little bit seeing them draft the receiver when they needed help elsewhere. Then you got guys like Jackson Dart getting drafted at 25. The first actual QB off the board who we didn't know who was going to be drafted. Cam Ward, we all knew was going to number one. So what I mean actual quarterback, I mean a quarterback who we didn't know where they would go. And the Giants traded up for him. Thought they were going to get Shadur. Nope, they're going for Jackson Dart, which I thought was really interesting. Shadur Sanders is probably the best quarterback in this draft class, and he's falling to minimum the third spot in the draft for QBs. There's a reason though. A report came out. A scout, an anonymous scout, said that Shadur is just one of the worst. Like when he interviewed him, he's just one of the worst interviews he's ever had. He thought he was really he's got a big ego. He blames his teammates. I mean, that's gonna tank your draft stock 100%. Just saying stuff like that, just coming from an interview, it's never a good thing. So honestly, Jackson Dart going before Shadur is not really crazy. They're both pretty equal in skill level, I would say. I do think Shadur's a little better, but seeing Jackson Dart go before Shadur isn't really a crazy thing to me. I thought either one of them could have gone before each other, but I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy seeing all this hype around Shadur to go probably like top 10, and he's fallen out of the first round now, which is actually insane to me. But that's really honestly like the main one. Honestly, it's surprising the most. Obviously, Shadur not being drafted is probably the biggest surprise I'd have in this draft so far. I would 100% thought the Steelers or the Saints to draft a quarterback, especially Derek Carr just getting injured and the Steelers needing a quarterback. But they decided to both go for defensive tackles, offensive tackles, and they both passed. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why I'm so tired right now. But they both passed on quarterbacks, and they took guys who they think could help their offensive and defense better, taking O-line, D-line. And seeing Shadur fall so low after all this media hype being around him is very, it's crazy to see. But after that interview that came out, it said he was a bad teammate. He blamed his teammates. He has a big ego. When that comes out, like I said, it's going to tank your draft stock, and that's just not what you want to see when you're an NFL GM is, information like that coming out. We don't want to draft this guy. So that's all I got for segment number 2. Next segment, we're going to the NBA, talking about the playoff games from last night. After that, we'll go to the NBA again, sticking with the NBA for the rest of the podcast. We'll talk about the games for tonight, preview those, and the weekend. After that, we'll end it off talking about Elijah Arenas. We'll get to all that after the break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jambert. First 2 segments, we talk about the NFL Draft, how that went, some surprises that came up throughout the draft. This segment, we're going to the NBA, recapping the Thursday games from last night. After this segment, we're going to the NBA. We're sticking with the NBA, where we talk about the games for this weekend, what's coming up in the weekend and tonight. After that, we're sticking with basketball, talking about Elijah Arenas, Gilbert Arenas' son, what's going on with him. So, 3 games last night. 3 series went on. 2 of them were good. 1 of them was not. I bet you can guess what game was not good. And you guessed it. Memphis OKC. This series is just horrible. It is just they need to stop airing the series. Yeah, the OKC's already up 3-0, so they won't have to air it after the next game when OKC wins. But this series should have stopped being aired after the second game. The Thunder came back from being down, I think it was like 15.5 last night. But still, that just shows how bad Memphis is. They can't close games. They can't play. They're just not a good basketball team. They're not good enough to be in the playoffs. They honestly shouldn't even be here. John Morant has just been ruled out as well for the next game, Game 4 against OKC. So there goes the season for them. John Morant's obviously their best player. So seeing your best player get hurt like that and he's out, it's never a good thing. So I didn't really watch this game, but I'll look at the box score and kind of, get my opinion on it. We had Chet Holmgren, 24 and 8. I mean, that's pretty average for Chet. Puts up good numbers, gets good boards, and it's what he does. He's a good rebounder. He's even though he's pretty skinny, he gets a lot of boards. His wingspan is really beneficial to him. He gets a lot of rebounds, and he's just a huge part of the OKC success this year. Jalen Williams, 26, 6 and 5. He's a bucket. He's one of the best players on OKC. One of the best young players as well. The whole team is young, but he's one of the standout stars in the young player core for OKC. He's phenomenal. He's a huge player for them all year. Besides SGA, he is their best guard, and he's shown all year throughout the playoffs and regular season that he's the man. He's that good of a player. Hartenstein, off game for Hartenstein, really bad. I wouldn't say it's not really good. When you're getting about 20 minutes of playing time, putting up 5 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, that's not going to cut it. Especially in a playoff game, that's not going to do. And I mean, at the end of the day, you can't be putting up less than 10 points to the starting center. Also, need to be getting at least 7, 8 boards, but he couldn't do that last night. I'm not sure if he went out with injury. I'm assuming he probably did, based off his little playing time. Like I said, I didn't watch the game, but I didn't see any news on him being hurt, so I'm assuming he just didn't play good. SGA, 31, 4 and 8. And he went 10 for 26 in the field. I mean, not the best shooting game for SGA, but still dropping 31 and 34 and 8 assists. That's not a bad game whatsoever. I mean, especially if we're winning the game, who cares? I mean, SGA, people, even I agree that, he's a free throw merchant. He tends to, foul bait a lot to get on the line. And I mean, if he's winning, he's winning. I guess at the end of the day, if he's winning, he's winning. He's in the playoffs now. But he's playing against a not very good Memphis Grizzlies team, so 31's pretty calm for him on that night. Lou Dort, pretty bad game as well. 6 points, 2 boards. Pretty bad game. Alex Caruso off the bench, 10, 6 and 3. And that's honestly really it for the OKC. They just, they play better than Memphis. And that's honestly about it. That's all I can say about that. Going to Memphis now. Jaren Jackson Jr., another 20-piece, 22, 7 and 5. He's one of the best players he's probably honestly the best player on Memphis. I will say that. I think he's probably a better player overall than John Morant is. I think he helps the team a lot more than Ja does. Yeah, Ja, is a good scorer, but I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is a better overall player. He does more for the team, passes more, gets more rebounds, he's a better teammate in general. So another great game for JJJ. Scottie Pippen Jr., 28, 5 and 5. Give that kid his flowers. I mean, give him some flowers. He's a great player. He's very young, a lot to learn, a lot to improve on. But even in the playoff game, dropping 28, I mean, he had a great game. They just happened to lose, which stinks. But Scottie Pippen Jr. plays like his dad. Aggressive, good shooter, good shooting from the mid-range. I mean, and good three-point shooter. He's a great three-point shooter, unlike his dad. Scottie Pippen Jr. is a great three-point shooter, shooting 6 for 10 last night, 60% from 3. It's always good. That's a pretty good stat line. So you can't complain about that. John Morant, 15, 1 and 5. He did get injured, so I'll give him some slack. But having 15 points and 16 minutes of play, that's pretty solid. Probably dropped around 30, and that probably won in the game for them. But John Morant getting hurt definitely costed the Memphis Grizzlies a win last night. And that's honestly about it for this series. I mean, this series is 3-0 OKC, but be honest, the series is over. OKC is going to 4-0 them, and that's honestly it. They're just not that good of a team to be playing against a dominant team like OKC. OKC is just that good of a team, and that's all I can really say about that. Next game we'll talk about New York and Detroit. First game in Detroit, this series, it was tied 1-1. New York came away with a really close win, 118 to 116. Really close game the entire time. I mean, there were some times where Detroit would be on deep runs. They went on a few like 10-0 runs. They went like on an 18-2 run at one point. They were, it was a great game. Constant back and forth, constant back and forth score changes, and it was close the entire time. If I wasn't paying attention to the draft, I was watching the Pistons game, and it was just close the entire time. I loved watching. Even though the Pistons lost, they put up a great game. New York just played a really good game as well. I mean, New York were just playing well, and some of our players just weren't. Malik Bees, Mikal Bridges, 27-3. I'm not sure why he wanted to play decent all of a sudden this game when he played pretty bad last game. But 20 points is 20 points, so I'll give him his flowers for that one. Karl Anthony Towns, after being held to 10 points last game, he drops 31 and 8. For a guy that size, you think he'd be getting more boards, at least 10, but getting held to 8 rebounds at his height, very surprising to me. But 31, I mean, for his height too, dropping 31 and being able to shoot the 3 ball so consistently, yeah, he's got it. I mean, he's a great player overall. Can't deny that. Jalen Brunson, I think he's dropped 30 points in every playoff game so far this year. 37-9. He's a great overall player. He's a phenomenal player for the Knicks and one of the best players in the NBA. He's an all-star for a reason. One of the best guards in the NBA, and he's an all-star for a reason. And the bench, obviously, the New York Knicks bench doesn't exist. I mean, Coach Thibs does not play anybody off the bench, and they play for like 10 or less minutes. Besides Mitchell Robinson, who got 16 minutes last night, had a good game, but I mean, the Knicks bench is non-existent, and the Knicks starting 5 are fatigued towards the end of the quarter, middle fourth quarter, and that's when they tend to slip up, let the lead fall away from them. Pistons tried to take advantage of it last night, just couldn't come through. Talk about the Pistons now. They're like how they did. Cade Cunningham had a great game, 24, 7, and 11, double-double. I mean, Cade's just the best player in Detroit. I mean, he's so good for the Pistons. I mean, you just can't deny that. I mean, first-time All-Star, phenomenal player, really leads the team, and he's just a great player and a generational. I'm so happy the Pistons got him. He's a generational player for them, and what else can I say about that? Tim Hardaway Jr. had himself a good shooting night, 24 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. He was hot from field, man. He shot 13 shots all night, 12 of them were threes, 7 for 12 from the range, from three-point land. I mean, he just was on fire. Tim Hardaway was one of the reasons he were kept in that game for so long because of how well he was shooting. When you got guys like Malik Beasley, who just couldn't seem to hit a 3 to save his life, 2 for 10 for 3. If he hits just 2 more of those threes, he goes 4 for 10. The Pistons win that game, but they just can't. They're not all gonna fall. So at the end of the day, they're just not all gonna fall. So you have bad days. Everybody has bad days. But Malik just came at a bad time when the Pistons needed them to step up. He just couldn't. Like I said, the Knicks do slip away with the win, 118 to 116, and now they will face off again on Sunday for the 4th game in that series. Finally, for the games for last night, we had LA, the Clippers versus Denver. LA just played phenomenal. They won 117 to 83. Stopped Zubac. Finally, he's playing phenomenal the entire series. Stopped Jokic. Jamal Murray wasn't playing that well. Aaron Gordon wasn't playing that well. Michael Porter Jr. was playing. I mean, the Nuggets just weren't playing up to their standards, and the Clippers took advantage of it. They beat them pretty badly, almost like a 30-point win. And, I mean, they did. They took advantage. It actually was 30-point win. It's a 34-point win. And they took advantage of, the Clippers playing slow, and they played fast. The Clippers are a slow-paced team. Or the Denver Nuggets are a slow-paced team. The Clippers are not. And if they see a team, slacking, they take full advantage of it. They take easy buckets, easy quick buckets. And it's exactly what happened last night. And there's a reason they won by 34, because the Nuggets were playing so slow. and the Clippers were not. They were playing fast. So they got the win because of that. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're going to flip it over to the games for tonight, preview those games. After that, and then I'll talk about Elijah Arenas, talk about what's going on over there with him. We'll get to all that after the break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Chamber. First two segments, NFL, talk about the NFL draft, some surprises from the draft, and last segment we talked about the games going on that happened last night, recap those games. This segment, we're talking about the games for tonight, preview these games. After that, we'll talk about Elijah Arenas, what happened with him. So I'll just preview these games. Talk about these games tonight. There's 3 games: LA Lakers versus Minnesota Timberwolves series, Houston Rockets versus the Golden State Warriors series, and then the Boston Celtics versus the Orlando Magic series. Not Houston Rockets. The Pacers versus Bucks series. Sorry, I got the days mixed up. Let's talk about the series that it's also probably going to end up 4-0. The Celtics Magic. I really thought the Magic would get at least 1 or 2 games on Boston. I really did. I thought their defensive ability is so good, it's so strong, that I thought they would 100% be able to, keep a good lead, maybe get a game or 2 out of Boston, but at the rate of how they're playing, that's unfortunately it's not going to happen. Boston is just such a good team. They are so much better than Orlando in every aspect. Their big play, Porzingis, better. Jason Tatum is better than Paulo. Jalen Green is better than Jalen Suggs. Any matchup is going to end well for Boston and not well for Orlando. This is the truth. The Celtics are just a lot better team, and I thought 100% the Magic were going to take a game or 2, especially with Jason Tatum being out. He was injured last game, maybe tonight too, but I'm not sure about tonight. But even with him being gone, they still managed to win by 9, which honestly was a lot closer than the first game, but still shows that they can play without Tatum, which, when you're losing your best player on your team and you're still winning games by almost 10 plus, you're fine. It shows that you are fine without him and you can make up. There's always guys next up on the roster who are willing to fill his spot, and Magic just couldn't get it done. Their defensive play is still phenomenal, holding one of the most efficient scoring teams in the NBA to just around 100 points a game is really good. But if their offense, is just a little bit better, they probably could have won last game, but their offensive play is still just not that good. Their defense is still, like I said, their strong suit. It's their strong point. They're a very good team. Defensively, offensively, unfortunately, not so much. And that's just why they will most likely get 4-0 swept in the series, because Boston's offense is so good that their defense, Orlando's defense being as good as it is, still can't stop them. And Boston's defensive play is just, I wouldn't say it's the best, but, it's not the worst. It's very mediocre. I'd say it's good. It's good. But Orlando's offense is just not that good. So that's why they just can't seem to get more than 100. But, the Celtics will win this game and take the series 3-0 and probably end up 4-0ing the series, ending the quick little sweep. Next series I want to talk about, Pacers-Bucks. This series is you see this series and think, like, oh, this is going to be a really, good series. Like, it's going to be, possibly Game 7 series. The Pacers have said otherwise. The Pacers have decided that they just want to play the best basketball ever, and they want to take the Bucks to 4. They want to sweep the Bucks, and that's what I think is honestly going to happen. They they're in Milwaukee now. They have switched locations from Indianapolis, but even with Dame came back, the Pacers are just still such a good basketball team. I really underplayed how good Indiana is. They are a very good team. They are a very, very good basketball team, and I was really underestimating them. I thought Milwaukee had this series in honestly like 5 or 6, but honestly at this point it looks like Indiana in 7 or Indiana in 4. Honestly, Pascal Siakam's been hooping. You got Andrew Naismith, T.J. McCollum, Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, what the hell, Burton? But I mean, just the Pacers are such a good team. I mean, like I said, I really did underestimate how well they were gonna play. I really thought Giannis was gonna have his way with this team the whole time. I mean, he really is. He's honestly is having his way. He's dropping 34, 35, 36 plus point games like every game, and like doubles, rebounds, and the Bucks just can't seem to win. Giannis is having his way. He is literally dismantling the Pacers defense, but his teammates around him just aren't supporting him in any way, so they're just losing games. And that's why I think that if they get swept 4-0, Giannis hits the market. He wants to leave Milwaukee, and the Nets are really interested in Giannis. So I could totally see Giannis ending up in the Nets uniform next year. And obviously, they're rebuilding too, so that would be interesting to go to a rebuilding team. But if he wants, maybe he likes the culture over there. He also, he's got shops over there. Apparently, he's got a lot of like shops in Brooklyn. Like he owns the stores. So I mean, that's why he wants to go over there. But I mean, who knows? But honestly, at this point, even though with them going to Milwaukee, this could be like a Pacers like 4-1 series win. Just by the way they've been playing. And Dame's didn't play good his first game. I mean, Chris Middleton. I know they never should have traded Chris Middleton. They never should have traded Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. That has obviously just not worked out for them. Kyle Kuzma has not done good for them. Chris Middleton would be a huge asset for this team. He's a great defensive player for them. And they traded him away for Kyle Kuzma, who's putting up like 10 or less points a game so far in the playoffs, which is obviously totally backfiring on what they had going for him. They thought Kuzma would be a bucket. He'd be helping them play good defense. And he is not only not playing defense, he's not scoring. NFL draft round 2 to 3. Is that started yet? Did it start already? Or is it still at 7 o'clock? Is that live right now? If it's live, I'll follow that one for the next segment instead. It is not started. I will talk about that. We can talk about. I'll talk about that. But yeah, like I said, the Bucks are getting manhandled, and if this happens, Giannis will end up. If they get 4-0 swept, he will end up in Brooklyn next year. And the final series that's happening tonight for the NBA, the third game in the playoffs, this series for today. Is the Lakers Timberwolves. Very good series. I mean, this series obviously it's 1-1. I thought honestly after the first game that Minnesota was gonna beat them. It starts at 7. Okay, sick. Thank you. I'll talk about that after this segment. We'll change topics. We'll talk about who I think is gonna go. But I had honestly Minnesota. I thought by the way they were playing, I thought they were gonna beat the Lakers in 5, maybe 6. But Lakers have came back. They've decided they want to win. They want to play good basketball again. And that's exactly what happened last game. Luka played phenomenal. Austin Reeves played well. LeBron still doing LeBron things, averaging 20. I mean, this is going to be a great series as well. This series has been, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards has been talking smack. Like, it's just what he does. He talks smack. And towards the end of the playoffs, or like when the playoffs started, he found out that, they were playing LeBron and the Lakers. He said he had a quote. I'm not going to quote it because I think I'd probably end up swearing because the quote, there's a cuss word in the quote, and I don't want to get in trouble. But I think he said something like, I'm going to end that old man's career. But there was some other language in there I can't say. And honestly, he can back it up. I really think Anthony Edwards is honestly he's probably the biggest trash talker in the NBA right now. But the thing about him, he can back it up. He is just he's a phenomenal player. He's so athletic. He is one of the most athletic players in the NBA as well. I mean, his jump is so high. His dunks are just phenomenal. He could shoot, play defense. I mean, he's just an overall great player. And plus, they got one of the best, one of the tallest players in the NBA, Rudy Gobert, on that team as well. Not, the greatest offensive player ever, but he gets a lot of rebounds. He doesn't put up a lot of points, but he's getting a lot of rebounds. And when Rudy Gobert is having a good game, he's putting up 15 points and 20 rebounds a game. But that's what happened in the first game. They were manhandling the Lakers in the paint, manhandling Jackson Hayes. He put up like 10 points and like 16, 17 rebounds. Last game, he was slowed down. He only had like 5 points and I think it was like 11 or 10 rebounds, so a lot less than what he's normally, capable of getting. And the Lakers won. Because of that, they won. And that was honestly it. When you manage to stop Rudy Gobert in the paint, that's going to help your team a lot. Because a lot of the other players, the Lakers obviously are a great shooting team, so they need their buckets to go in. But you got guys in Minnesota. You got like Mike Conley. He's a good shooter, but he's not really consistent from three. Julius Randle, I wouldn't really consider him a three-point shooter. He does shoot, but I wouldn't consider him a three-point shooter. And then Dante DiVincenzo, he's a sharpshooter, but I feel like he's been kind of inconsistent a little recently. But it's still phenomenal. So if the Lakers, they can shoot equal to, if not better, obviously that's going to help you win games. But I think the Lakers, I would just have a better overall team. I think, honestly, Luka Doncic is probably one of the best players in the NBA right now. Just from playoff perspective, he's playing phenomenal. He's had 40 points each game. And he dropped 40 in their loss, but he also dropped 30 in their win, 35 in their win. Obviously, you got LeBron James. Like I said earlier, he's still doing LeBron James things. He's playing phenomenal basketball. Austin Reeves, Dalton Knecht, Jackson Hayes. The whole team has come together and they're playing really good basketball. And JJ Redick has shown to be a great coach for them this entire season. And he's gonna be, it's gonna be a great series. JJ Redick is proven, like I said, to be a great coach. And overall, the series, honestly, by the way that's been going, the first game was a blowout. Second game was not a blowout. The Lakers kept it close and they win. It could be, 6-7 game series. And honestly, that's how every playoff scenario go. As of right now, I still have Minnesota winning in 6 though. So we'll see if I'm right. Probably won't be right. I hope it goes to 7, but we'll have to wait and see. Come end of the series, I guess. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, I'm going to talk about Elijah Arenas, but I guess Chase wants to talk about that NFL draft round 2 and 3, so I can touch on that as well before we end it off there. But before we get there, take a little break. We'll get to that as soon as the break's over. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jammer. First 4 segments, we talked about, sorry about that. My first 4 segments, we talked about the NFL, the draft, talked about round 1, how that went, some surprises that went and happened there. Just recapped the NBA playoffs from last night and the preview of the games for tonight as well. This final segment, we're doing kind of like a 2-for-1. We'll do a quick recap on what's going on with the Elijah Arena, and then we'll also talk about NFL draft round 2 and 3. So we'll start off here because I got the comment, I got the little set title down here. Elijah Arenas coma, son of son of Gilbert Arena, an NBA legend, Elijah Arena, one of the best players in the class of 2026, 2025, has fallen into a coma. He happened to get into an accident, and he was placed into medical care after the crash, and he is now in a coma through medical needs. So he got in a crash, he got injured. That's horrible. So they took him to a hospital, and what they decided to do, they decided to put him into a medical induced coma. So they placed his body into the coma because he inhaled a lot of smoke from the car crash that he was a part of, and the coma is supposedly going to help him, get the smoke out, clear his body out, of all the smoke, all the toxins, all that. So we're hoping for a speedy recovery for him. Phenomenal player. He plays like his dad. Gilbert Arenas is obviously like not one of the greatest of all time, but one of the most. He's got a phenomenal highlight reel. Gilbert Arenas' highlight reels are really good. There's nothing most you can say about that. Gilbert Arenas is a great basketball player, and I'm really hoping for Elijah to get well soon again. That's just really it. So, yeah. All right. I just want to talk about that real quick. We'll talk about the NFL draft. So, yeah, that wasn't surprising. So, NFL draft rounds 2 or 3. I'm only doing this because Chase requested it, so hope he's still here. But we got some surprises within this draft, like I said earlier. But a surprise I want to talk about, like I mentioned earlier, Shedeur Sanders is still on the draft board at round 2. Round 2 and 3 starts at 7 o'clock tonight. And there is still some very good players out there on the board who have not been chosen. Shedeur Sanders, he's one of them. The Browns have the first overall pick tonight, 33, and they have another pick again at 36. The Browns tonight could do what I think the Browns will end up doing. I think they will end up taking Will Johnson at 33. Will Johnson, yes, he's injured. He's got some knee problems, but he would be a huge addition to that secondary for them. Will Johnson, in my opinion, was the best cornerback, best defensive back in this draft class, and he fell so far just because of injury problems, which it's never a good thing. Injury problems will always hold a player back, unfortunately. But him falling out of the first round when he's originally a top 10 pick before he got injured, it does suck. I do feel bad for the kid, but I don't think the Browns pass on just such a good defensive player such as Will Johnson. He was phenomenal. He still is. He's a phenomenal player overall when he's healthy. And honestly, that's it. Will Johnson is just that good of a player, and that's really all I can say about that. Then the Browns, again, they have the 36th overall pick. So what do the Browns really need? They got their guy. They got Mason Graham out of Michigan. So they got another defensive tackle. And they're trying to, if they want to stack up that defense, add Will Johnson, and then maybe get Mike Green from Marshall if he's still on the board. Mike Green is one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league this year, going into the draft. He's a freak. Mike Green is really, small market, but whatever. 6'3", 251. And he's he's one of the best, like I said. He's like a top 5 edge rusher in this year's draft class. And all four graded above him are already taken. So as of right now, he's still the best edge rusher on the board. And like I said, I talked about him a few days ago, but he led the FBS in sacks this year. It's 17. So it just shows how good of a player he really is. Leading all of college football in sacks is a great stat to have for a kid. But he's just that good of a player. He is really quick. He's fast. He's strong. Obviously, filling up gaps and taking the outside leverage is what he's good at. And 17 sacks, that's just adding to his resume. So if the Browns really wanted to, they could take him, with their 36 overall pick. But what will they really do? Will they go for a quarterback in Shedeur, or maybe someone else, maybe Kyle McCord or the kid out of Louisiana? Honestly, what I think they'll end up doing, they could go for another receiver. And there's a lot of good receivers still on the board. Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, Luther Burden, Missouri. I mentioned a few days ago, Troy Horton out of Colorado State. he definitely won't get chosen until late in the round. Troy Holden, I mean, he's a great player overall, but I mean, he's a great player, very underrated player. Sorry, I think it's raining here. Yeah, it's raining. I couldn't tell if it was raining, so I kept looking at my window, but it's raining. But I mean, so I think the Browns will end up going with, the overall. I think they should take Will Johnson or Mike Green with their 33rd overall pick, get someone on the defensive side, and then for the 36th overall pick, get a receiver, get someone besides Jerry Jeudy to get a really good receiver core going for what they got right now. There's just still. I'm not gonna talk about just the Browns. I'm talking about who players are still available. I'm surprised still are available. I guess you could say. I guess they're Jaden Higgins, receiver out of Iowa State, probably the top 5 receiver in this year's draft class. Travion Henderson, running back out of Ohio State, his partner in crime, I guess you could say, was taken last round, and he's still sitting there. Both 1,000-yard rushers. Both phenomenal. Both reasons Ohio State went to the national championship this year and won it, because both of them are just such a good running backs. Both of them getting 1,000 yards in a season is that's just unheard of. Getting 2 running backs in the same class getting over 1,000 yards in a single season, in the same running back room, both getting 1,000 yards in college. That's unheard of. I feel like. So Travion Henderson will be a steal wherever he goes. Who needs him? Honestly. Who could he fall to? That could be honestly. That's a good question. Honestly, I know no one asked that, but who could he fall to? Honestly, a lot of teams. I feel like the Saints kind of need a running back. I feel like Alvin Kamara's hurt a good amount, and I feel like they won't draft him, but I was gonna say the Giants could use a good running back, especially because they just got Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter. Add someone explosive on the offense, Travion Henderson. That's their guy for that. So he could definitely fall there. I do want to talk about Shedeur Sanders again. I can't believe he's still on the board. Like I said earlier, though, he had some pretty bad draft interviews, and a lot of the anonymous GM who reported it, said some pretty bad things about him during the interview. That big ego, blames his teammates, a lot of stuff you don't want to hear. So I think that's a reason his stock is tanking, because problems like that. So do I see him dropping out of the second, third round? Honestly, if from what I hear, some coach saying that, to a player, saying that about a player that he blames his teammates, you can see a guy dropping pretty far out of the draft for someone like that. But realistically, will he? I doubt it. I think he could maybe go to a lot of teams. Obviously, Steelers still need a quarterback. I feel like maybe a team like Indianapolis might take a quarterback as well. Maybe a later for still one available. New Orleans, obviously. Las Vegas. There's a million teams that can get them. But the 3 teams I can see drafting them are definitely probably the Jets, the Raiders, and the Saints. The Jets, Raiders, and Saints are probably honestly top 3 picks for Shedeur Sanders to go to. There's still just so many people in this draft that are available still that are very surprising to see they're still on the board. But that's the draft. You see people fall who you think could never fall, and then you see players rise up, get drafted early who you never even heard of. So that's the NFL draft for you. That's why it's amazing, and that's why the draft is so much fun, honestly. That's all I got for everybody today. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. Your continued support really means the world to us, so feel free to like, comment, and share with anybody you know. Feel free to follow us on all of our social media to stay up to date with all things GSMC. We're on any social media you can think of, X/Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any social media, we're on it. So just search GSMC and follow us to stay up to date with all things GSMC. And yeah, honestly, that's all I got to say. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon. See ya.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.
I don't wanna go